Welcome to Twin Turbo. This is the channel where we feel life is short, so get what you want.
Yeah, and you can get exactly what you want for less.
Absolutely. So today we're going to talk about our daily drivers, which demonstrates what we're talking about. My daily driver is a 2011 Mercedes E63 AMG.
My daily driver is a 1998 Lexus GS300 that is super reliable.
All right, let's do this. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about this 2011 E63 AMG. It has a 6.2 liter. It has 518 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. It goes 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds. When my wife first saw this car, she said, "Oh, it's a grandpa car," until she got in it and we drove it. It's super fast, super luxurious. This is the kind of car that you can put it on its regular comfort mode and it's very comfortable, and you can go to a play or go out to eat, or you can put it on the AMG mode. The car actually lowers, stiffens up the suspension, and it changes the transmission to actually make the car go faster. So it kind of has a dual personality. That's one of the reasons why I bought it. I'll show you around. So if you look at the front, it has the HID lights, and these lights, when you first start out, they go up and down, and when you turn the wheel left or right, these lights will actually turn left or right to wherever you are pointing the steering wheel, which is fantastic and for safety at night. If you come here and you look at the front tires and wheels, you can see those big AMG badged brakes. Those are huge brakes, and they really stop the car fast. If you can see down in there, the brake rotors are actually drilled and slotted, and so the car goes very fast and it stops very fast. So there you can see the 6.3, and that's where you get the E63 AMG. So it actually has a 6.2 liter engine in it, but they call it the E63. And so it's got a big V8 motor. And so let's walk around this way and we'll show you a little bit more about it. And so as you come to the back of the car, it has a sunshade, which is very helpful for these hot days in the south. It has quad exhaust. You can see there at the rear end. It has Parktronic, that's what these are. And so if you're parking close to something, the closer you get, it'll actually give you lights and warnings that you're getting close. And that's convenient as well. So we'll continue to walk around and check it out. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, for a 2011, at this point it has about 65,000 miles on it. I bought it with about 30,000 miles on it. I think it originally, the sticker price was $104,000. And so I bought it for much less than that. I basically bought this with 30,000 miles on it, what you could buy a new Honda Accord or Toyota Camry for. So this is what we're talking about, that you can get what you want, and you can get it at a really great price, and this is a great example.
Some of you may be thinking, yeah, you got a good deal on it, but what about the maintenance on a car like that? I'll tell you, all I've done is change the oil on this vehicle and replace the battery. Other than that, this car has been bulletproof. It has not broken down not one time. It is a very reliable car. I highly recommend it.
Just wanted to show you this. If you look on the door here, you can see that there's actually crumple zones in the door. So, you know, from a safety perspective, it is a very safe car. I think, you know, when you close the door, you can definitely hear the thunk. So let me show that. Yeah, it's very different from a Japanese car. Even the metal seems thicker. So just wanted to show that to you. You know, so in addition to having auto stop, it has these doors that have crumple zones in them. Thought you might be interested in that. All right, so let's take a look at the interior of this 2011 E63 AMG. So as we go in here, you'll see the door. You know, that's actual wood. That's bird's eye maple wood, very nice. And so there's, interesting for Mercedes, the controls for the seats are actually on the door. And so if you haven't owned a Mercedes, you know, which I've owned Hondas, I will look on my left-hand side of the seat for the seat controls, and they're not there. They're always on the door. So as we go in, you can see there's the steering wheel. It's leather wrapped. It's very nice. You can see more of that bird's eye maple there. And so as we go down to the seat, they are very comfortable. They are heated and cooled, and they have the sports seats. And so as you look over here, you can see all those controls. They adjust the lumbar support. This vehicle has massage functions, and the sport function will actually make it to where when you go around a corner, if you turn to the left and your body goes to the right, that right bolster on this side will actually inflate and hold you in place. And if you turn right and your body wants to go left, the left bolster will inflate and hold you in place. Here's another look at the AMG buttons. And here is where you control the vehicle's functions as far as comfort, sport, sport plus, and manual. And then for race start, which is launch control, that's on the bottom. And then the next button down is where you can turn off traction control. You can adjust the suspension with the next button down. And then the AMG button is where you save the particular functions that you want. On the floor here, you can see the nice AMG mats. And you can see the pedals that have that brushed steel. And they've got actually little rubber grommets on those pedals that help your foot and your shoe to grip it better. When you go to the back seat, you can see it has those black leather perforated seats. Very comfortable. There's plenty of room back here. It's a great place to be. So here's the back seat, and you can see the armrest comes down, and you have a pass-through there, of course. But one thing I thought was very interesting is you can pull this up, so there's space to store things in the back seat of this vehicle, and there's a hidden cup holder. You can put this back down, and so you've got cup holders in the back seat. So here's the trunk on the E63 AMG, and it has a light for safety, so if you're on the side of the road and you lift it up, other cars can see. It has a light that goes down, so you can see actually in the trunk, which is super nice. And look at the size of this trunk. I mean, it is huge. So this car is extremely practical. And one of the things I'll show you here is if you open this up, this car has air suspension, and I don't know if you can see that great, but there's the canister that holds the air. And this car will actually, when you turn it off, it actually drops about an inch or so. And when you go into sport mode, it actually drops and the suspension firms up. So that's pretty nifty. It even has these, and you saw this in the other Mercedes video that I did, if you want to just hang some grocery bags or something like that. And it's got the spare tire in here and the toolkit and all that good stuff. And it's got the nets here on the side to hold your stuff on the left and the right. And just as the E53 that I showed you, this has those tie downs as well. So if you need to tie down something so it doesn't move around. And the way that you can get into the back of this car is these latches here. So actually the seats go all the way down. The back seats go all the way down. So if you wanted to put a whole bunch of stuff back here, you could certainly do that. One other thing I'll show you before we end is the way that you close the trunk on a Mercedes like this is if you want to close it, you press this button. If you want to close it and lock it, you press this button. So we'll close it, and that's what happens. And you can actually lower and open this trunk from the driver's side door. Here is the engine on the 2011 E63 AMG. You can see the hood on most Mercedes. Most hoods on cars are at this angle. You can actually, on Mercedes, make the hoods go almost 90 degrees, and this is for access to the engine. Take a look at this great engine that we have here. This is that 6.2 liter V8 engine, and if you look here on the middle, all AMGs have a plaque on them, and the saying is one man, one engine. And these AMG engines are all built by one person. So by that I mean one person is responsible for one engine. They build it from start to finish. And so that's why, especially with AMG Mercedes, you have such high quality, because there's accountability and the best mechanics work on these engines. There's no battery here. There's actually a battery toward the back of the car. There's actually two. There's an accessory battery and a regular battery. This is where if you need to jump this car off, and so you put one end here and then you'd put the other end here. And so no battery to save space, because space is needed for this gigantic engine here. And so back here, I believe this is transmission fluid that you can check. And there's no way to really check the oil. There's no dipstick on this engine. Where you put the oil in is right here. And so you can open this and you can put oil in if needed, but there's no dipstick. There is a way though that you can check it on the gauges, and the computer on the car will actually tell you if the oil is low. And you can see the intake here. This is real metal. This is not the engine cover. This is the engine cover, but this is the real metal. That's the real intake for the engine. You can see the air intakes, go here over to the side, and here's where you put in the washer fluid. There's the brake booster and where you put in brake fluid. The best thing about this engine, folks, is that this is the last naturally aspirated V8 that Mercedes made. After they stopped making this big naturally aspirated V8, naturally aspirated just means it's not turbocharged, it's not supercharged. Right. And so that's the great thing about this, less stuff to brake.
All right, let's start it up, see how it sounds.
You can see that AMG lettering there. I think that looks nice. Let's punch it real quick. Like I said, immediate response. It goes, no question about that. But definitely when you push the AMG button, it just comes alive. So I'll push the AMG button and let's pass this car up ahead here. All right, we'll slow back down. Got to be responsible. There's a button up here and you push it. And so I'm going to do that now, and Mark will be filming that, and you can see this great panoramic roof. So if you're a passenger in this vehicle, you're very comfortable. You've got plenty of room. You got a panoramic roof. You got your own air conditioned vent back there, and you can control the volume of air. Just great. I remember the first time I sat in this vehicle, I sat in the back seat at the dealer lot, and I was impressed by how big it was. And if you have more than one or two kids, this is a great vehicle. It's very practical.
All right, so here we have my 1998 Lexus GS300. I had a Land Cruiser before I had this vehicle, and I got rid of the Land Cruiser because it had 363,000 miles on it, and I just wanted to get reliable transportation. I planned to drive this car for a year, but I ended up driving it 6 years because it's very reliable and there's nothing wrong with it. So 1998 Lexus GS300. Lexus is made by Toyota, so it's super reliable, and this is sort of the luxury brand of Toyota. So you get things like aluminum alloy wheels, beautiful paint. It's got leather seats. It's a 1998, but it actually has a touchscreen in it, so that's pretty exciting. It has a V6 engine, so it has tons of power, and it is just a great car. So planned to drive it for a year, kind of bought it as a throwaway car. The dealer wanted $10,000 for this, and I got it for $4,000. So a little negotiation will get you a long way when it comes to buying a really good, reliable used car. So just take care of it, change the oil, and it'll do great for you. The one thing you do need to worry about with an older vehicle, make sure that you change the oil regularly and that the water pump is working properly, because if an older car overheats, you have all kinds of expensive problems that happen, like blown head gaskets and things like that. So here she is, my 98 Lexus GS300. So now we're going to take a look at the interior of my 1998 Lexus GS300. This is my daily driver, my beater, my old car that is reliable, but if I take it to Walmart and if somebody opens their car door on it, I don't care. It's an inexpensive car, it's an old car, but it's a reliable car. So you see on the interior, it has leather interior, it has wood grain accents, it has a touch screen, which for 1998 was very unusual, sort of brand new technology back in those days. but the steering wheel, it telescopes in and out, it goes up and down, it does all those things that you want a nicer car to do. It has a clock, it has a cassette tape player, which you can see I have a cord sticking out of that because I plugged that into my old iPhone 6, which is also super inexpensive and reliable, but you can plug a pair of corded headphones into that thing, so that's why I've held on to it so long. And if we go into the back seat, you'll see again really nice leather. They did a great job in terms of quality leather back in 1998. So you can see when we're filming this video, it's 2021 and the leather's still in great condition. If you put conditioner, I use Lexol leather conditioner. If you condition the leather pretty regularly, it'll stay in great shape. You can enjoy it for years and years. So there's the interior of the 98 Lexus GS300. All right, so here we have the engine bay of my 98 Lexus GS300. It's a straight 6-cylinder. So a lot of tuners, they like these old cars because a straight 6 means basically all 6 cylinders are in a line, right? So it means that it's a little bit easier to rebuild, and there's options that you can do in terms of some people like to put a turbo on these old cars and tune them up. So there you have it. It's a pretty basic, reliable, time-tested power from Lexus. All right, so here's the trunk of my 98 Lexus GS300. Not a lot to see here, but there's a ton of space in there. You can fit all your filming junk for a twin turbo, and plenty of space for, you know, your ammo boxes, you know, just in case World War III or the zombie invasion happens. Basic 98 trunk. But you'll notice that this car has a touch screen from the 90s. So yeah, that was pretty unusual back then, but you know, it has the typical Toyota really simple buttons and knobs, which is great if you like simple. Sometimes you get in a German car like an Audi or a Mercedes, and you know, you have to basically take a class on how to operate the thing. Everything in a Toyota or a Honda, something like that, a Japanese car, it's very zen, it's very simple to figure out. So that's a good thing. And one great thing about this car is, you know, everything works. The AC works, the heat works, all the little bells and whistles, the little electric things still work, which is great. And as I'm driving this car, it has 235,235 miles on it. So 235. And Matt did a pull or a launch in his Mercedes earlier, so I'm going to do a quick one. So, you know, that little V6 from 1998 still has a little get up and go. And so if you're going to buy a car that has over 100,000 miles on it, I would suggest that you stick to certain kinds of cars. Japanese cars like Toyota and Honda. You don't want to buy a Ford or a Chevy with over 150, 200,000 miles on it. And there's other cars like Hyundais and Kias, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not good. So in general, if you want to buy a car with over 100,000 miles on it, you should buy Toyota, Honda, and you're going to have better luck with reliability. You know, the other thing with an older car is some people, you know, you care about your car. You want to make the scene. You want to impress people. If you're driving an older car, unless it's an antique car like a 61 Lincoln with the suicide doors, or a 59 Cadillac with the shark tails in the back. Those things are just works of art. Those things are gorgeous. But if you are buying an older car, it's because you want reliable transportation. You want to get where you're going and not spend a lot of money doing that. And maybe you're not really a car person, though I have seen some people, some tuners take GS300s, and they rebuild the engines and they put all kinds of ground effects on the cars and stuff like that. So, you know, it's always an option. If you want to wrench on a car like this, you can make it better than new. But in general, the reason you would buy and have a daily driver like this is for economy. You want something that's comfortable, reliable, but doesn't cost a lot. I looked at a Porsche that was beautiful. It was a Porsche Panamera with a big V8 engine, and I just looked at it and it's like, hey, this car has red paint. My car has red paint. Hey, this Porsche has beautiful leather seats. Hey, the car I already have has leather seats. And so I was just like, how can I spend, like, you know, 45 grand on a used Porsche Panamera? Because I would never buy a new one because I don't want to take the hit on the depreciation. But it's hard to spend that kind of money to get something that you already have.
So we have two reasonable options here. At the end of this video, you'll see a link for a 30-second twin-turbo channel SurveyMonkey poll. The question on the poll is it smarter to buy a nicer car for average car money or the cheapest, most reliable transportation one can find? Which is the better value, the Mercedes E63 AMG that was originally $104,000 with 38K miles, but only pay Honda Accord money for it, has 518 horsepower V8 luxurious, more resale value due to enthusiast nature of the car, or the Lexus GS300, 225 horsepower, straight six for $4,000 with 150,000 miles on it, stylish for the 90s, and reliable but kind of boring. The poll asks this one question, and the answer is two multiple choice answers. We'll share the winner of the poll in a future video. You can use the link or the QR code provided. Let us know what you think. If you want to communicate with us, feel free to reach out in the comments. If you enjoy the videos, please smash that like button and subscribe. We have many more videos on the way. Thanks for watching.